Hello world, welcome one, welcome all to the very first ever Europe in Ruins CarrotCast. Today we are going to be looking at one of the finest, one of the closest, one of the most intense games of Europe in Ruins I have ever played. Now I've got a couple of different replays that I want to play back and show, but for this first one, and this is the first one that I'm doing, I'll also be given a brief overview of Europe in Ruins, what the heck it even is, and what it does differently, what it does better, in my opinion. So Europe in Ruins, real quick for those of you who don't know, is an award-winning modification for the award-winning strategy game Company of Heroes. And it does a lot of things differently, it does a lot of things bigger, it does a lot of things better than not just Company of Heroes 1, but Company of Heroes 2, and a whole lot of other games and mods out there. So I do want to showcase that. Initially, I had wanted to stream this match and actually stream these games, but the connection I'm on currently is I can barely actually play a game, let alone stream it. So I'll be doing a playback and a shoutcast of these, but the opportunity with shoutcasts like that is I get to see not only the game a second time and really understand what was happening that I didn't really notice before, but I get to see things from my teammates' perspective and even my opponent's perspective. So that's really going to give a much greater context to the rest of the game. Now, I have in the description included the playback file as well as the battle file for this. So if you want to actually follow along by watching the replay yourself, you can do that. Just make sure the battle file and the playback file are in the correct locations. And I've got a quick video just going over exactly how to download and watch replays, as well as how to save replays of your own if you have a game that you'd like to show off. And that being said, I have a couple games that I will be playing back of my own games, but I don't want to just sit here and cast my own games. So if you have a battle that you would like to send in, please do so. I will give it a watch, and I will maybe even give it a shoutcast. So we could go on about a lot of different things, but I don't want to bore you here with too much details. Needless to say, I'll add a couple of addendums probably at the end of the video, but what we're really here for is to watch a game, a great game, a really damn fine game. So here we are. Do you know where we are, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, viewing at home? You see here on the screen, what are we looking at? How about now? I mean, this probably gives it away. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful 3 versus 3 game on Monte Casino by the our very own Scafa, who's actually in this game under the name COVID-19, Co being C-O-H, for Company of Heroes. Isn't he cute? Isn't he clever, everybody? So we actually have the creator of this map playing on this map, and it's a wonderful game for you. So what we've got here is we've got a 3 versus 3. We've got an Axis attack scenario. I am on the Axis, as you can see. Oh no, this is a 4v4. Yeah, Monte Casino is one of those maps that can either be a 3v3 or a 4v4, and this is indeed an 8-player game. So on the Axis side, you have myself. You have Shabtasis, you have Yo-Yi101, and you have COVID-19. And on the Allies side, the defenders currently, we have Rust Nails, Jade Clone, Colonel Commissar, and Tovarish Tanker. Big shout out to all these guys. This was an absolutely fantastic game. And here we go. If you're following along at home, on the replay at home, I'm currently at the 5-second mark. And we will be launching in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So here we have the start of the game. You can clearly see the Axis are quickly figuring out that it is indeed an Axis attack game. Meanwhile, the Allies are sparing absolutely no time in terms of deploying their units and capturing the field. So let's take a look at things from the Allied perspective, because why not? So over here we've got Tovarish Tanker as the Brits. He's coming out on the field. Strong and proud, lots of infantry backed up with an AT gun. Very smart move. We've got Colonel Commissar here doing his usual thing, starting with a Calliope. That is an M4 Sherman tank with 90 rockets, I believe, on top of it for indirect fire support. Very brutal. Jade Clone doing... What is Jade Clone doing? Oh, I see. He's got this M8 here, 2 riflemen and a Jeep. So this is a very, by the numbers, infantry start, I would say. But that M8 does give him a little bit of mobility and variety. And over here we've got Rusty Nails with an MG, an AT gun, a rifle squad, and an M8 armored car. They're setting up, but I'm not seeing a lot of defenses out of these guys. If I were them, I would... Oh, here we go. Yeah, Jade knows what he's doing, putting down some barbed wire here. We're not even on the field yet, and already the Allies are going to be making our lives kind of a hell. In terms of having to get in through here, how to take this place and whatnot. So let's touch on Company of Heroes real quick in case you don't know. This is your first exposure to it. Hope you enjoy. So Europe in Ruins is, of course, a mod for Company of Heroes. And there's a lot of things to it that separate it. One of the big ones is you don't have a base. You don't have a headquarters. You don't build a fucking tank factory and that nonsense. You build your companies beforehand and you call them onto the map. So everyone has the same amount of resources, but of course not everyone's going to build the same company. So you've got a lot of uniqueness, a lot of variety to the kind of companies you can make. And yeah, I mean, you can see right here the wide variety of units we've got on the field. The Brits have their infantry, their unique upgrades, their unique abilities, including 6-pounder that cloaks. Except the Axis have just activated an ability that lets them see cloaked units. So that's going to reveal that 6-pounder there. Colonel Commissar's company, for example, has a lot of personality in an armored company in that he really loves his Calliopes. So when you're playing against Colonel Commissar, you know he's going to have some Calliopes, and you've got to prepare accordingly. And that's something that we were kind of aware of coming into this. We didn't know how we were going to deal with them because, oh my god, that is a nightmare to deal with. As you can see with these 4 pips of veterancy it's got on it, it's racked up quite a few kills in its career. And it has survived over time. That's another thing that Europe in Ruins, a mod for Company of Heroes, does, in that we have persistency over time, and that veterancy that a unit gains in one battle, for example, by killing a Jeep here, will persist throughout battles so long as that unit survives. So you've got this incentive to not just use your units wisely, but actually preserve them to some degree, and not lose them in a rocket run, because if those units survive, they will have a better experience for games to come. So this game started off, this is actually me right here, starting with the Volksgrenadiers, and this game did not start off well for me. I was miserable from the very beginning, because you've got this M8 armored car who's harassing me, my pack is not able to get close enough, he's got this MG that's screwing me up, and of course, Colonel Commissar, with his Calliopes that I mentioned, decided to use them on me at the very beginning of the game, because of course he did. And my poor damn mortar can't even catch a break. So this whole time I felt miserable, and I felt like the weak link, and I was trying to hold on as well as I could. I've got this house pretty well secured until it gets knocked down by this AT gun. But meanwhile, fortunately I've got teammates who know what they're doing, who are able to pick up a little bit of the slack. Now Shab is being real brave, and he's just running right into the middle of this map. For all the fortifications they built around it, we're not able to really get into the position, but they're not really able to hold it either because they've got, what, an AT gun and an M8? So they're able to force us off. There's a broken arrow activated here. You can see planes coming by. This is something, as far as I know, unique to Europe in Ruins, this kind of off-map, where you have planes that come by and they've actually got their own little AI who do targeted strafing runs on units in the area. So it's not just your bog standard point and click, 6 howitzer barrage that you get from Vico. You should not. When an anti-tank strafing run is activated within the area, you should move your armor. But this is just something that Shab did not catch, so that martyr got real beat up real quick. Meanwhile, I don't even want to watch this. I was so miserable, man. This was not going my way. Now they've got my little house. I'm not even able to fight back. He's got his MG set up on me, and I just did not know what to do here other than hold on and hope that holding on alone was enough, I suppose. Checking over this side of the map to happier times.
Motorcycle lost.
Shab is again being real ballsy with these Panzer Grenadiers. He seems to be more interested in getting the DPS out of them to cause a lot of damage, to cause the enemy to retreat. He doesn't really seem to care so much about the survival aspect of it, although he's got Vet 1 and Vet 2 here. So these are units that have survived over multiple games. There you go, retreating off. He wants to save this vet. Keeping this one guy on the field could be useful, but you know, he's doing the mental math and he's figuring out the veterancy on this unit is going to be more useful in the long run for him to hold on to. He can always pull this unit off and call another one on. There's no need to sacrifice every unit to the very last unnecessarily. And interesting engagement here. We've got Skaffa's Panther going up against Tavares' 6-pounder. Oh, and there's the Calliope. We're going to see a lot of this. You notice how this kind of looks like the surface of the moon now? Yeah, that's going to be most of the map. And that's just how it's going to go. As you can see over here, I've managed to barely get the pieces back together and start to form some sort of cogent defense. We are on the attack, and one thing to point out that I didn't mention earlier about attack mode is there are multiple game modes within Europe and Ruins. There's meet engagement where all players face each other at the same time, they all just come on. There's reinforcements where a smaller number of players starts, and then over an interval of time additional players will come on the field to reinforce them. One by one, so you start off with fewer players and then you go off to more players, and you got to hold the line till everyone gets together. And then you have attack defense mode, and either side can attack or defend. It just so happens that we got a bad roll of the dice. Well, I won't say it's a bad roll of the dice, but the way it worked out is we were attacking. Now, when you're defending, of course, you've got all that extra time to build these nice little defenses here. Of course, if you don't man your posts, then some engineers can just come and clear out this barbed wire. But if you're attacking, you know, it sucks to go up against fortifications and prepared positions, but you do get a small population bonus. So you can have additional units on the field, so you will actually outnumber your opponents if you're maximizing your population correctly. And in doing so, even though you're attacking, you can still have an advantage of some sort in that you have the numbers on them. And you can see it's not doing me any good because Rusty Nails is tearing me up with this MG, is tearing me up with this M8, and my defensive company is not something that can cover this wide of an expanse by itself. My teammates have been concentrating in the middle. They've been making a lot of progress. They're doing some good work here. I'm also killing them as they do that because that's just what my motor's going to do. But you can see I start to shift over to this direction. I just decide to grab the middle because I think holding these fortifications is going to be much more useful and much more important to us than, you know, holding on to this house. Eventually we get this crap cleared out, and I just don't remember when that was. I just remember being miserable this whole time. Even my mortar can't escape the MG. It was just a nightmare for me. But this was definitely a big learning experience too. I quickly learned that I needed to adjust my company to be able to deal with stuff like this. And once again, that's one of the selling points of Europe and Ruins, in that, you know, you build your company and it plays out however it plays out, and you just got to learn from there. It's not about learning a better build order or improving your APM, although those things do help. But company composition is a huge part of it. If I know I'm going to get Calliope'd like this, maybe I shouldn't have a Pat gun and a mortar sitting right next to each other, just asking to get arty. So you have a Calliope, you have another broken arrow coming down. And this guy's just making his cannon strafing runs on all my stuff, and I was getting more and more desperate as things went on. You can see I've just got a mortar and a pack right now. I've got some more units coming, but you know, it's really kind of on my allies to pick up the pieces of my miserable failure, which they are doing wonderfully. Shab was a real key player here in terms of just getting these flamers in, and that doesn't look like much, but they contributed a lot before, and they bought me some time. It also bought time for this elephant here, which is gonna... We need a game changer at this point. Looking at things from our team's perspective, we need something that's gonna, like... We're already behind on territory. They're already gaining on us on poppies. You can see they're gaining 64. We're only gaining 36, so 32 now. So they are literally gaining double the population per minute that we are. We need something that's going to make a splash, and that elephant, this had better be it, you know. I don't have any particularly heavy armor within my company. The heaviest I have is a Panther. So that's... I can't pull on a big game changer. I don't have a Tiger or a King Tiger. I don't even have crazy artillery. So it's a good thing that Shab here has this elephant. As you can see, he's got a fair amount of veterancy on it. A big unit like this, a tough unit like this, is not one you would expect to die easily, and as you can tell from this veterancy that Shab has here, this unit has survived for quite a while and has done quite a bit within its lifetime. So you can expect great things from this thing to come. But for now, I am once again flailing around spectacularly. This house is just... Oh, and here comes the artillery, so... oh no, I forgot to uncloak them, and there they go! So, ladies and gentlemen, that was me.
Unit lost.
And here we go. But you see, one shot from that elephant is really getting that M4 to fuck off, which is exactly what we need right here. And we're making a decent amount of progress, even though we haven't grabbed any territory yet. We have started to push within their territory. These guys over here, I'm actually able to draw enough forces away from this flank that my allies are able to make some progress, so at least I'm useful for that. Stuka firing, counter-battering on the mortar, Calliope going right in the middle of our offensive, holding us off for quite a bit, but we have a little bit of Oaks from Yoi coming up here. And they're Vox Grenadiers, so who cares if they get lit on fire and shot full of holes. And that's the glory of Vox Grenadiers. This is the kind of life you can look forward to on the Western Front. Oh, but they do get their Panzerfaust off, so they've accomplished their mission. Another artillery strike coming in here. I don't even know whose this is. It's just a sheer amount of... This looks like an artillery strike or maybe a foo. This looks like a desperation food, just trying to get us to hold off on our attack, and it worked. Bought them a little bit of time. They get to pull off, they get to regroup, they get to come back, and I get to die miserably. Interestingly, the center here, nothing's really going on, which I don't understand. They build all these fortifications and then they didn't defend it, and if you just defend the center here, you can branch off and go uncover all these flanks and do all these wonderful things. But if you just let it sit empty, I mean, I guess they don't really need any forces to keep it open now, but, you know, we could just walk right on in here, and I think it's not going to serve them very well to be sitting way back here, when they could be taking this green cover, they could be taking this green cover, they could be rebuilding this barbed wire. They could really threaten our flanks here, and then we couldn't push in like this. Meanwhile, you can see, like, I feel like I've dropped the ball so spectacularly. Look at what they've done here. They're just clowning on me on this side, although we are starting to look at 2 players, 3 players coming in here, battering me like a very unloved stepchild. But that just buys time for this elephant to do its thing, which is 2 artillery strikes coming in, another broken arrow. Let's see if the AI targets my P4 or if it goes for the elephant. I'd honestly rather sacrifice the P4 and take any damage on the elephant. And, okay, well, good thing the elephant has some very thick armor and a lot of hit points. These side shots and rear hits, yeah, these rear hits are going to do it. And this Calliope is very threatening to anything that it comes across, even heavy armor. Broken arrow is still just loosing hell on all of this here. Looks like it's just ended, thank God. I think we saw, I don't know how many broken arrows this match. It was probably like 4, but it was potentially up to 6. And this is not a broken arrow, this is a strafing. Oh, that's so badass. I don't even know if that was ours or not, but it was cool. So here we have the fight's finally kind of coming towards the center here. And once you have this position locked, an AT gun pointing out from these hedges is really going to threaten this entire area here, and it can easily be pivoted to cover this entire field. So let's see exactly what Rusty does with it. Yeah, my poor Puma, my poor infantry. Let's check things from, let's just pick a random allied player. It doesn't really matter which one. Let's just see some things over here. Again, these Rangers. But eventually I just stopped putting up a fight over here. And if there's nothing for them to kill, then they can't kill anything. And by that genius logic, if they're not able to kill anything, then I can't lose. There we go. That was a beautiful shot by that plane. And what's cool is like that plane actually took a shot. It rolled an RNG. It got a really good roll. It didn't scatter very far. It landed right on the target where it should have. And that was, I would say, a good effect on target, more or less. Very satisfying. And the great thing about that, rather what I should say is cool, is that anti-aircraft works, whether it's a quad half-track or an Ostwind, or even 50 cals have been modified to be able to shoot at planes, just like they really could, which is awesome. So every once in a while you'll have a plane go down or something, take a shot the wrong way and crash into a house or blow something up. Although that can sometimes lead to a kamikaze as well, right into the target. Let's see, we've got a little bit of a lull here. This elephant is going to be making these crazy shots because it's got some ridiculous range. So even if the rest of the map is at a standstill, this elephant is still going to be doing some work. But the rest of the map is not at a standstill anymore. We've got quite a lot of stuff coming in here.
Unit down.
Stoff is backing me up. Or trying to, but he's getting a little overwhelmed by some Rangers, by some armor. I'm trying to back up the Scaffa, but what we really need is this elephant, which, guess what, here we go. With this elephant...
casualties being reported.
I'm finally feeling a little confident to actually be able to push up, to be harassed by, you know, multiple units from at least 2 players all game. To finally just have an elephant say, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, and be able to clear this place out is actually going to give me some breathing room. Now my Volksgrenadiers can do what they do best, which is, you know, get shot, so that's something more important than getting shot. Good artillery on this AT gun here. It's another strafing run. I believe that's a Scorched Earth ability. I want to say Scorched Earth because I don't think it's a Luftwaffe ability. I don't see any Fallschirmjägers or Luftwaffe infantry. So I'm assuming we don't have a Luftwaffe player. Although it's interesting that for artillery he went with the strafing run and not like a Hummel or something with an incendiary barrage. Alright, a little quick action here. And I knew that mine was there. The most frustrating thing about that was I knew that mine was there, And the Panther's hitbox did not touch the mine. I made sure when I was giving it its orders, when I was microing it, the Panther's hitbox did not hit the mine. But the mine went off anyways, and there goes my engine. Fortunately, this M8 is no match for our Krupp steel, but unfortunately, a Pershing is also going to ruin my day. Here comes the elephant to save the day. We've got some artillery coming in, missing its target, but looking pretty cool, I suppose. So there's always that. Things are very quiet on this flank over here. So let's get back to the action, which is really just my Volksgrenadiers shooting here and my Panther shooting here, and we're picking off some kills where we can. Every kill on the Brits, you know, really matters. They're a pretty expensive faction to purchase and to reinforce. But he's going to get my Volksgrenadiers at LMG 26. And they've got a sniper, which if I wasn't miserable enough already, I hate snipers. I hate snipers so much, I don't even deal with them. I just hope that my teammates deal with them, because I fucking cannot deal with these guys. Oh, but Yoyi has his own sniper. So we're going to have some dueling snipers. And this is honestly the perfect terrain for a sniper duel right here. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's see how that plays out. Over here on this flank, yeah, I had my Puma. No repairs left on this thing, so I was just using it as a Florida Scout with that just so happens to have an autocannon on it. But nothing really holding this flank. I feel like if the Allies had just thrown a single infantry squad down this way, they would at least be capturing this territory, let alone, you know, maybe killing this mortar or taking out my Puma. This is like a forward intel being popped by someone on the Allies team. I think armor. I think it's an ability that reveals support weapons to you. That includes packs, MGs, and mortars.
Enemy unit down.
No, for an armor company. Huge infantry push is coming out of the center here. This is exactly what I feel like the center is for. You hold off your enemies, you get favorable terrain on them, you get some kills on them, you use it to push out. This artillery, I mean, that hurt, but this artillery would have done so much more if it weren't for these physical fortifications. Not just the green cover that these units are in, but also the physical terrain, which actually blocks these shots. You know, that Stuka walked away with 2 or 3 kills and not, you know, 9 or 10. Snipers are still dueling each. Oh, this could be it. And
enemy unit down.
There we go. Caught it live on camera, ladies and gentlemen.
Our forces are taking casualties.
Rusty Nail's sniper is taking out Yoyi's sniper. So now, look, Allies have a sniper running free. Oh, do they? Do they? Oh, damn it. Oh, okay, that's one lucky sniper there. 4 kills already, one of them being an enemy sniper. So he's definitely earned his keep as it is, and he will probably be doing more work.
Enemy unit
There
down.
goes Scaffa's Panther. What did that? Probably the multiple AT guns. Makes sense. Yoyi getting real good with this mortar, though. Okay, this is a beautiful artillery as well. Right in the middle here. This is going to be a rocket run or a strafing run. A beautiful strafing run. And a ghost AT gun. There we go. So nice of the Netherworld to deliver us an AT gun. Burger Tiger.
Enemy unit
I don't know
down.
if he's salvaging the wreck or if he's repairing it. It looks like he's repairing it. I'm not sure if that's how it works, though. Did this Panther come back? Well, we're about to find out. Exciting stuff. Over here on this side of the map, again, you've got... See, this is a good move from Rusty.
Enemy unit
when you have even just a one-man squad sitting off in a corner here, having infantry in a sector prevents the enemy from capturing that sector. So if you hold a sector, you just have a one-man squad right here. You know, you could pull it off. You could save the veterancy. It does have a vehicle kill, so that is kind of worth saving maybe. But it doesn't have any pips of veterancy on it, so it's really not that big of a deal. And by holding it here, he's keeping us from capping this sector. Now, if Scaffa knew that this guy was here, he could have just moved over to this sector and tried to cap around him or something. Maybe
Enemy
send a
unit
vehicle
down.
down this way to deal with the problem. But real great capping game from the Allied players. Axis, our team is currently, as you can see, we're actually losing population at this point. So population builds over the course of the game, starts at about 25, builds up to about 40. Attackers, again, get bonus population for attacking, and some doctrines have doctrinal unlocks that allow you to have a higher population cap as well. But it builds up to about 40, and once it hits 40, the team that has more than half the territory, you know, merely stays at 40, but the team that has less than half the territory, they actually start to lose population. So there's kind of a sense of urgency here. We are really feeling, let's check things from Scaffa's perspective. We're feeling the pressure. We're losing population. You know, we've got however much population tied up in this Burger Tiger here, which is not a bad investment, but it's a bunch of population that doesn't have a gun to contribute to the fight. We are concentrated, and this is key. Pay attention to this. We are concentrated here on one point. We are focusing in, trying to cut through like a scalpel. If we had spread off across a wide front, we wouldn't encounter a lot of resistance necessarily, but we'd be so spread out that any resistance we did encounter would have held us back. But by concentrating our forces on this flank, and then you'll see them come around here, we're able to not only strike where our enemy is weak, but then move and strike again where they're weak. And this is something that I gotta give props to Scaffa. This is something he's really good at doing, is hitting you on one flank and then just hitting you on the other. And for any new player out there, anyone, you know, who needs... that's the number one tip I could give you, I guess, is if you want to be better at Europe and Ruins and you just want one tip to make it happen. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do, a lot of things you could recommend. But if you can be mobile, if you can hit this flank like we did, take out some forces, maybe cap a sector, and then when your opponent's busy just trying to set up some sort of defense here, not even thinking about counterattacking or anything of the sort, because you bloodied their nose a little bit,
Have destroyed an
then
enemy
you come
unit.
on over to the other flank. They're not expecting an attack over here. They don't have any defenses. This one rifleman is not going to hold off a panther. So we're kind of able to hit you with a 1-2 punch, and this is what really saved us, is the mobility here. Scaffa kind of leading the charge, kind of directing everyone else to follow him around. You see Yo-Yi coming in with 3 pieces
The enemy is weakening even now.
of armor, and we really need infantry right now is what we need, so we can cap some territory and get back into the fight. And that's exactly what I'm calling on here. I realize we need more territory. We need to capture these sectors. We have enough armor as it is. My defensive company is full of Oaks Grenadiers, so why don't I call a couple of these guys on out, try to capture some territory. I'm not fighting. I don't have anything to fight a Panther or a Pershing anyways, other than a Panther of my own, which is busy repairing. So big infantry push coming out of Colonel Commissar here, but he doesn't have a single piece of AT to actually deal with this half-track. So the these 30 caliber rounds are very barely chipping away at this infantry half-track, and a single bazooka. Oh, here we go. Okay, a single bazooka would deal with this, but
Unit
the 75
down.
millimeter of the Calliope is enough
have destroyed an
to
enemy
defend
unit.
itself and at least fend off this half-track here. And this is where we're able to just concentrate enough armor, I feel like. And this is where it really comes together for us. The Allies have held all this territory all this time, and we are losing. you can see we went up to 40 pop, and we were attackers, so we had even more than 40. Now we're back down to 35. So every minute we're just getting more and more desperate. It is very much a race against the clock. We hold the territory we hold, but we can't really grab too much more. We've got a Pershing, we've got an M4, we've got a Calliope. And now we've got 2 Fireflies coming in on our flank. So, you know, the Allies are coming from this way. We can't grab this territory back while they're holding it. So even if they don't win this battle, they can still win the war just by not letting us capture any territory. And eventually, if your population gets low enough, if you fail to capture territory for long enough, you have to withdraw off the map. The game is over, you lose. And then you got to pull your troops off and make sure they get off the field successfully. Otherwise, not only did you lose the game, but you lost all your veterans. All your units still in the field got captured. So this is a real threat that we have to actually look out for. We've got an elephant we don't want to lose. We've got a panther we don't want to lose. We've got a Jagdpanther we don't want to lose. We've got a command panther we don't want to lose. But we don't have all that much infantry to actually cap territory.
We have eliminated the enemy once more.
So you see Skaffa once again saving the day with the capping game, coming up the flank like he does. I just have a bunch of Volks Grenadiers that I am throwing at the enemy. Look at the Calliope. Oh no, just barely not able to hold on to this pack. I was a magnet for artillery this game, and you know what? It's a difficult burden to bear, but somebody's got to do it, right? So I'm glad I could do my part. Probably the most useful thing I did was build this medic bunker here, just to let my team come back and heal up a bit. Being able to save your infantry like this by healing them at a medic bunker, I mean, if you think about all the hit points that you recover from a medical station, and you consider if you convert that to resources, and you actually consider how many resources you are getting back every time you heal, it's kind of a no-brainer, especially for a defensive company like this. I have spec'd into 6-man Volks Grenadiers instead of the usual 5, which is real nice to have that extra man. You know, you get 20% more manpower in each squad, which is hugely useful. But I also have Ostfront Veterans, which gives everyone 10 more HP. So you've got an additional man, and everyone's got 10 additional HP. And I am once again, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely screwed. My pack gets a couple shots off. My Volks, they're just going to fight to the very end, as they do. But it seems almost
to our might.
A single Stuka seemed to turn the tide of that battle. And you know Shab knows what the hell he's doing with this Stuka. 30 infantry kills, 1 vehicle, and those buildings are probably just barbed wire. But you know what? Let's throw them on the kill count too. This thing has 35 kills. Hence its veterancy. And if you're looking for a target to kill, everybody, I would recommend trying to hunt down Shab's Hotchkiss Stukas, because nobody likes them except the Axis players who are playing with Shab, because he really knows how to use them. Jade's Pershing pulling back, not doing a lot of work. I don't know what repair he's used, he's on, if he's repaired yet at all, but only 2 infantry kills for about half his HP gone. No infantry kills for this Churchill Croc. Down about a quarter of its health. Damaged engine. Very unfortunate situation for these guys. It could have just been us getting some lucky shots off. It could have just been us doing the right thing. But for them to be taking this much damage and not really earning their keep in return. I mean, I've been throwing Volks Grenadiers all around just because Volks Grenadiers are a solution to many problems. And even with my piddly little Volks Grenadier, this thing has not been mopping them up. This thing has not been racking up the kills. I don't know what kind of doctrine unlocks Jade has for the Pershing. I think at this point in time, this game was maybe a week or two ago at this point. So he was pretty new to the game. I don't want to pick on the guy because he was literally learning how to play in this game.
The enemy is weakening even now.
But I don't know what doctrines he has selected or how he's utilizing the Pershing. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. You can go HVAP, get the high velocity armor piercing shells that absolutely tear up enemy armor. That turns them into tiger killers, absolutely. You got a couple other buffs that can do him, a couple speed buffs. It doesn't seem like he has the acceleration buffs because this thing is acting a little sluggish. But you can see armor has the Pershing, it also has the Calliope. And Colonel Commissar knows what he's doing when it comes to Calliopes. So if you want to take a lesson from this guy, just kind of pay attention to what he shoots at. Basically anytime a support weapon gets revealed, especially an AT gun, you're going to want to drop that Calliope on it. You're going to delete that AT gun. You know, he could easily delete that squad if he knew it was there. He could easily wipe out this pack.
Enemy unit eradicated.
The Pershing is going to be a little bit more of a direct combatant. But boy howdy, would it be pretty useful right here. At this point, this armor is mobile enough. You know, Yo-Yi's got this beautiful little trifecta. It's not so beautiful anymore because now he's got a damaged engine right in front of an AT gun. But this Ostwind, this Jagdpanzer IV, and okay, this Panzer IV-5 command tank that just ran over a mine and did not get a damaged engine. They kind of cover each other's weaknesses, so the three of them together, this is actually not a terrible idea. If you're dealing with armor, your Ostwind's not going to do anything, but the Panzer IV-5 and the Jagdpanzer sure as hell will. If you're coming across infantry, then this Jagdpanzer's not going to do you too good, but Panzer IV-5 and the Flak Panzer sure will. But if you drive them straight into 1, 2, 3, 4 enemy tanks, 2 Ranger squads, they will probably die just like that. The Jagdpanzer IV, however,
we have eliminated the enemy once more.
He's actually going to have a pretty good time against this Churchill. And yeah, if he's able to keep this thing around, he can just keep plugging away. This Pershing is going to... This is going to be a nightmare for this Pershing to deal with, because even though the Pershing will probably win this fight, will it be a reasonable trade for Jade to make? And I don't think so, because you're going to see him take a shot. No, he just barely avoids that Jagdpanzer IV. Good for him. You do not want to take a hit from that 75mm. However, Scalp's Panther's comes in, and, you know, the Panther's going to do just as much work. And could go down, as could the Churchill.
The enemy's tanks do not stand a chance.
Okay, the Churchill goes down to
the
the Elephant, of course. And we're doing real good on this territory here. We went from losing terribly to... You can see even now we've been gaining some population back because we've captured a bit of the map. We're still only at 39 pop though. You know, we were down so significantly that we are not even back at max cap yet. But I feel like the Allies are kind of wearing themselves thin. They've been a little sloppy with their play. They held all the territory at first. I think we were planning on winning on a cap, but is that going to happen at this point? We'll see. So, this I feel... Oh, hold on, Calliope. Yep, he knows the AT gun's there. And oh my god, he does not get it. So that's the great thing about defensive is you can get a Ostfront Veterans bonus, which is going to be an additional 10 HP for each crew member. But you can also get, I think it's called Hammer of the No. Oh, what's the name of that doctor? Well, anyways, it gets some heroic armor, and so that pack gun would not have survived that Calliope if it were not for their heroic armor. And I have medkits on them as well. I popped the medkits to try to survive there. Ultimately, I think this is what you need to do with the center. Throw enough bodies at it till you have it, and once you have it, actually hold it.
The enemy
Real
has cut
scary
down an
push over
infantry unit.
here from Rusty Nails. They're gonna get. They can just capture all of this, and if they're able to cut us off, which they very easily could, if you're able to cut off each sector from the spawn, even if you hold these sectors, if they're cut off, you don't get the bonus for them. So a simple flanking maneuver, taking out these sectors, could wipe us out very quickly, very easily. Comes the Pershing, deal with the Panther. That Sherman can act as bait. Don't block the Sherman with your Pershing. Oh, that's a 76 mil. No, that can almost go toe to toe with that Panther. Meanwhile, that Pershing needs to stop getting shot in the ass. Colonel Commissar coming in with his Chafee. This is a reward unit. Not in Company of Heroes, however, we do have it here in Europe and Ruins. It is a reward unit, so it is something that you can earn or purchase on the market, or you can just be randomly rewarded it. Meanwhile, we've got, I believe, a Thunderbolt is also a special specific reward unit. So we've got two reward units here rolling up our flank. Reward units, they tend to be more side grades than upgrades compared to units. They're not better just because they're reward units. They have their trade-offs. They have their pros and their cons. But certainly to have two reward units rolling up our flank is not good for us. And this flank is kind of becoming their last stand. At this point,
the enemy's armor.
It's pretty easy to tell. We've pretty well held the middle. We've wired it off. I put down a nice little bunker here and a nice little bunker here. So this is an AMG nest. I placed it here specifically. It ended up not getting a lot of use. I don't know if it got any use actually. But this way was to cover the entrance, to keep the enemy from pushing in here. Meanwhile, these hedges provide a nice line of sight block and protection. So the only way they could attack this bunker is from a direction where we could hit back. I also put a bunker down here in the center here. And GG is called. One player already annihilated from the Allies. 3 other Allies still putting up a pretty valiant effort. And you can see they have the numbers here. It's just looking desperate enough for them that they don't want to throw their companies away on it. We've also got a pretty secure hold on the center here. And we are once again back up to 45 pop cap. Once again, that's the 40 max plus the 5 bonus for attacking. And this is what ended up saving us, I think. I think attacking, we came into this situation, especially I came into this situation, and we just kind of got battered against, you know, this wall of fortifications and defensive positions that they had picked up. But they were a little sloppy with their units. They lost population, you know, more than they should have. And eventually we were able to get to a point where, you know, even if they're at max pop on the field and we are too, we actually outnumber them by a little bit. And we were able to use that advantage to our favor and kind of push on in here, take back all this territory. I wired myself in. I'm not very bright. I don't know if you can tell that or not. But I do make some great fortifications. Check this out. Isn't this just beautiful? So there we have it. The game officially ends. I don't think there's a way to check out the score screen on a replay, so I can't quite show you the kill counts there. However, what we can do is we can look it up in the intelligence tab in the launcher. So I'll get to that in just a moment. Let's take one final look at the field here. Scaffa, this Burger Tiger, I believe it brought this. Did it bring the Panther back, or I wasn't? I don't know. But either way, this Burger Tiger, whether it brought the Panther back or it was just making repairs, I think really every unit on the field was kind of key to our victory at this point. The point I was making with the Burger Tiger, if the Burger Tiger wasn't making all these repairs, Scaffa, I don't think, would have enough vehicles. I mean, all he has is this Panther. So this Burger Tiger making the repairs was necessary for us to be left with just this left over. Obviously, the Elephant played a huge role. The 15 infantry is just the start of things. The 2 vehicles and the tank kill that it got were really kind of where the Elephant earns its keeps. It is an anti-tank unit. It is a tank destroyer, so no surprise that it destroyed some tanks. But once again, high level of veterancy on this thing. It was doing work the whole damn time. You've got just a little bit of infantry left from everybody. And let's see, what do we have over here? This Jagdpanzer, damage engine, but still alive. Again, 5 infantry is just the start of things. The 2 vehicle, the 1 tank. Let's not forget RIP, the Ostwind and the Panzer IV-5 that valiantly sacrificed themselves for no real reason. But they all racked up some kills. And if that Ostwind and that Panzer IV-5 didn't do what they did, I don't know how we would have held on. Meanwhile, over here, even just these individual 2-man units, if we didn't have them to push up these flanks and cap these sectors, I mean, it really came down to a matter of inches. We were desperately out ourselves. I just so happened to call on, this was one of my last call-ins, and, you know, I built up some fortifications, you know, to batten down the hatches, get ready for a storm, and it didn't come, but if it did come, well, we could have just been wiped off the map. And that was something that I was very afraid of. Now let's check out the kills. Alrighty. So, if you want to look up the battle, and you can look this up yourself in the Europe in Ruins launcher. First of all, we're going to have to open the Europe in Ruins launcher. Log on in here. And the battle that we are looking for, as you can see right here, is number 5291. So we're going to come on over here to the Intelligence tab. We're going to click that plus, replace that number with 5291, hit accept changes. It is going to pull up that battle. And here we have it, even though there are no score screens on replay playbacks, we do have this here. This is a unique feature to Europe in Ruins. Again, it is a mod about persistency, and so, I mean, you can see these battles happen, and they happen over time, and here they go. So here's battle 5291, and we can see that Shab and Yo-Yi were really doing the heavy lifting in terms of wiping out infantry, but that's because he had an elephant and some other pretty good stuff, wiping out stuff left, right, and center. Lots of vehicles out of them. Meanwhile, the Allies doing a pretty good job of just... When you see loot losses like this, this is not necessarily a bad thing. This means you have a lot of units in your company to lose in the first place. And company selection is a huge aspect of it. You need a lot of bodies to be able to throw at a problem. And you can see... I gotta go back and do this. 5291, accept changes. You can see what it was able to do for them. Most of the battle, we were at about 35% cap territory. And we were not able to push past that 1/3 mark. And that is what that means. They were able to hold all these sectors this whole game. And it was really just our population cap bonus that did it for us, I believe. You can see here, this was a struggle all the way up till the 35-minute point. And then it was just an absolutely brutal slog. Let's take a look at the population counts as we go on. You can see we're people just start getting wiped. This is where some real big battles started happening right towards the end there. And in addition to the population, you can also look at team kill totals. You can see the Axis got a firm advantage over the Allies in terms of infantry kills. Not surprising, you've got 4-man Grenadier squads versus 6-man Rifleman squads. The Axis are going to rack up more kills, but what's interesting is you look at the vehicle kills. The Allies actually outdid us there pretty significantly, and that's including the Elephants and the Panthers and the everything else's. So good on the Allies for being able to wipe out our armor. They just had 1 or 2 pieces of armor left that they needed to take out, and that was really about all that was holding us together. So I think that's gone on quite enough. I'm sure you can see here from this territory chart why I wanted to cast this game. It was such an uphill struggle, I felt like an underdog the whole time. I don't know how you feel about it. You can let me know in the comment section down below. Or you can tell me what you would have done differently to not get absolutely murdered like I did. But thank you so much for joining us. I do want to be doing more of these. I do want to be doing a bit more as well to promote Europe in Ruins. If you're a part of it, you know why it's great. And you love it, and you love it for a damn good reason. If you're not so familiar with it, check it out. If it seems like anything that's up your alley, I honestly think it's better than Company of Heroes 1. It's obviously a mod of Company of Heroes 1, so I think it improves a lot. It adds so much. It adds so many features. But I think it's better than Company of Heroes 2. I think it's better than War Game. I think it's better than Steel Division. I think it's better than Iron Harvest. I think it's better than every other Company of Heroes mod out there. I think it's better than Dawn of War. I think it's better than etc. I just don't think any game or any mod delivers quite like this. So check us out, europeandruins.com, twitch.tv/europeandruinscoh. Obviously, check us out here on YouTube. Check out our Steam page if you have not already. Familiarize yourself. Join our Discord. We have a great community of people who would love to help you out if you're new, love to play a game with you. If you have any questions, you need tech support, we are here for you. And I guess the final note I'll mention is, if you have any replays you'd like me to play back and check out and cast over, send them my way. I would love to check them out. I would love to play them. I would love to give you some sort of commentary, and I don't want it to just be uploaded. The first few are games that I played. They're very close games, and they're very intense games, and they do a great job of showcasing the mods, so I want to do a couple of those. But I do want to get on guest commentators, and I do want to be doing playbacks of other people's games, because I think that's really interesting, where you're that neutral third party and you get to see things from an omniscient perspective, and you kind of get to figure out what either side is doing, and really sort of examine the gameplay that way, really kind of figure out what's going on. So we'll have more of that just soon enough, but I hope you enjoyed this first one, and I'll see you in the next.